that I kind of showed earlier with the pavement modeling. Again, this is more of a milling and overlay. And then what we were going to do was show what a widening would look like with that. So right now, you can see it's inside. I have just my terrain and my geometry. I have both of those attached to this. And then my main corridor I have attached to this. So similarly to what Matt was talking about, I'll be going through the same things pretty similarly. I'm going to get my right corridor model up. All right, so what you all see on the screen is this model right here. I have a left saw cut, a right saw cut. We went over this template a little bit yesterday, but you can see how I named them, why they're named the way they are. They have some different conditions. So this one I'm tying by vertical and slope. The bottom ones I am tying by same thing, slope and horizontal to the control point in the middle here at the bottom. The components are tied a little bit differently. Again, this will probably be more of a future training, but this is just your normal pavement template. But if I come down to this template, it's a little bit different. It's actually an overlay template that I'm using, where I can tell it to follow different methods as I'm going through the template. Like for instance, my top option, I'm going to have it follow the surface. The bottom option, I'm saying follow the highest point, because then that way I can differentiate what I need to do from a leveling standpoint. So that's really what this template is covering. The one that we're going to attach, we talked about yesterday with the seek, and Matt went over this too a little bit ago, on what that end condition is, how it's seeking, and where it's going to. So again, we'll have these available, these templates after the training, so that you guys can have these as well. So this is the template we're going to use to attach. So you can see left edge of concrete, but I have a left saw. So I'm just going to show the left side for now for the training purposes. Right side would be similarly the same thing. So what I want to do first is I have my corridors, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm not going to attach really by a corridor feature, but I'm going to attach by a feature, a corridor feature line, and not a corridor itself. So it's similar to what Matt showed, but a little bit different. So one of the things that I will do first is I'm going to actually create a corridor. So this again is my main line. I'm creating my end conditions separately. So everything outside of my pavement area are going to be different corridors. And in this sense, with this corridor, I could create both of those in one. I would probably still separate those out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit new corridor. So, that's one thing I wanted to show first prior. So with the mill and overlay and what I'm utilizing, one of the things that I want to do is I want to have my profile window open. So I'm going to base this off of my horizontal control line. So I'm going to pick my horizontal control line, and I want to show my profile, because my profile is, we talked a little bit about this, where you can set your existing ground as an active profile, which is what I want to do in this case. So I have an existing ground as my profile itself. So the reason I want to have that window open is because when I go and I create a new corridor, it asks me locate profile element. And you see when I pick this, it's empty. So one thing that it does is it has a hard time identifying sometimes the existing ground. Usually I've done it both. It does work if I don't select it, but I select it just to make sure that I'm good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate my baseline. So I did that. Now it says locate profile or reset for active. So you can do both, but I go ahead and pick my profile, because then I know in here it's accepted that and it puts it in there. So I'm going to name this left end. And I'm going to then pick, and you can see I picked my corridor. So my corridor right now, again, like Matt showed too, it's just showing me an outer envelope. It doesn't know what to do because I haven't assigned anything to it yet. So I have that corridor already assigned. Actually, I think I picked the wrong corridor. I'm going to redo that again just to make sure, because I think I forgot to identify. Make sure active profile. I want it to be designed for now. I did actually do that right. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So I'm going to lock to start. I'm going to lock to end. And then I do a drop. I'm doing a drop of 5 in the end condition. So I want that template that we use, that left end condition template. So I'm going to hit OK. Now I can walk through. I've locked to start. I've locked to end. I want my 5-foot interval. So now it's actually taken, and now it's got my corridor in it. So again, corridor still looks the same. It's still empty. So with that said, the next thing that I want to do is I want to go to my corridor bucket, also called corridor objects. I did left end condition. One thing I always like to do as well is I click off of this to make sure that this is just black lettering, that I don't have blue to where it's not finding it, or red because it's not synced. So those are the things I always like to do. Even after I've done it, it's just kind of a double check to make sure. So like Matt said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and create an external reference. That external reference that I want to create, I want to make sure that I'm using my 3D view. This is anytime I do an external reference where I'm referencing a corridor, because you can see I have a lot of layers in here. Depending on how my template is controlled, I want to make sure that I pick that correct control point. So in this sense, with that template that I have that I'm dropping, I want to make sure that my top level of my surfaces are matching. So I'm going to pick the left saw cut line, and then I'm going to reset. So you're going to see it's ALG main left saw. So this is my ALG main from my main alignment file. So that's my external reference. I'll show you one of the parametric constraints in a minute when I go back to that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. I'm also going to change my profile view now to a section view so I can see what's going on. So as you can see, I still have information in here. Looks like I have 2 corridors for some reason. So I want to make sure my references, okay, my end condition. So I want to define my target alias in here. So I'm going to pick my corridor. And you can see what comes up, target active surface. I can target that, or I can target my RDEP, which was, again, in that template, and we showed that yesterday, that seek line of that end condition. I said, okay, that end condition, I'm going to name it RDEP, which is my linear target. So I'm targeting now that linear through here, but as Matt showed too, that's from an external reference. I can show all linears, probably pick it from there, but I'm going to have to hunt a little bit more. This helps me organize that a little bit better. So I'm going to add that in. I'm going to hit apply. When I hit apply, what's going to happen is you're going to see that corridor show up. But wait, it is above my, let me close that. And let me get into this window. If I rotate, you can see it's not connected. So the reason it's not connected, because if I go back to my template and the way that the template was created, you can see my origin point and my seek point. My left saw cut and my center line. So if I go to my left saw cut or my center line point, it's going to say I have a V offset of 3. So this is one thing in when creating templates and stacking those so that you can see them independently. I said, okay, I want a vertical offset from my control so I can start to see all my different elements. That's why that has a 3-foot offset. I could start this at 0, which is fine, but just making sure I offset those other ones. So since it has that offset, you saw it's up above my other corridor. So I want to bring that back down. So in order to bring that back down, I will go back to my corridor bucket. I'm going to go to my parametric constraints and I'm going to add a new constraint. I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller. All right. So I'm going to hit new. And in those constraints, I already have a lock to start, lock to end, which is what I want because I want to bring down this whole end condition that I have. So the constraint label I want to pick, again, is that B offset. That's the constraint I want to pick. Right now, it's a start value and a stop value of 3 because that's what it's pulling from my template. Well, I don't want it to be 3. I want it to be ground level. So I'm going to knock that back down to 0 for my offset. So this would apply to anything. So even if I have a vertical offset of a different template that's up higher, and let's say it's 40 feet up in the air, when you first apply a parametric, that start value is going to say 40 and your stop value will say 40. I want to change that to 0. So that's what I'm going to do is come in and create that parametric to change to 0. So as I walk through my prompts, that what I've already set over here, you're going to see this is going to drop back down to 0 now. So now it's base level with my control that I associated through that target line. So again, Matt went through some of the reasons of why you can use those targets, why that seems to work a little bit better. It works better on processing. It works better through a lot of those elements. One reason too, right now I have 0 point control because I'm controlling through alias. I'm controlling through features. Point controls, the more you have, and I believe the number is around 20. Once you get past 20 point controls, your corridor and your processing time will start to slow down. The more you get, the slower it gets. I would not go ever past 30. If you go past 30, you're probably going to have problems. It's probably going to crash. This is another reason to do this. I have an external reference. I'm just telling it, hey, go find this. The point controls a lot of times will have more data in it than what we're trying to actually control through. So you can see too in my cross section, well, now my cross section and now it's matching my pavement section down. That was that vector offset that we had in the template itself. But this is one way you can do that. Even in this template, you can still have switches, and you could switch. Let's pretend this line would be a right-of-way line. I could throw that switch in and say, okay, I need a wall there, and make that, have that in my template to switch to that wall based on that point control. And that's where we try and save point controls more for the different switches that you have in, because then if you're controlling it more that way with your point controls, it's going to process faster. So again, this is similar to what Matt did, a little bit different as far as how it's associated a little bit differently with the corridor feature line, but very similar. So I think we can end the